All right, so like everyone else in the space of gaming who pays any attention to gaming news out there and anything related, PS5 Pro. I was not keeping an eye on this at all, but again on X, you just see everything in this space. So I saw all about it. A friend told me about it as well. How did you see this? And I was looking into it a bit, and just so many things hit me in terms of like thinking how ridiculous this is, and just asking the question like, well, really, who is this for? I'm going to go through a bunch of things here just related to what I saw and, the device itself, what it's offering, and namely the price as well, which has been a big talking point of like contention among like everybody because it's absolutely absurd. And it's even more absurd if you're a UK resident, which I'll get into because it's ridiculous. Sony are just taking the piss like never before. They have been for years. Like in terms of kind of raising the bar in terms of game prices as well, but now they're trying it with the console itself, and hopefully people don't swallow it, but I have a feeling just from past experience people are going to be okay with it, despite what you hear online. But let's talk about the console a bit. So first of all, the features it's actually offering in terms of the hardware. So no disk drive. Now the thing is, I know some people are upset about that. I'll be honest, you could look at it as a con. I would I understand that, right? Because being able to trade in games and stuff like that, or swap out games, or trade with friends, or whatever. It's not something I've done in many years personally. I'm only PC. I've been only PC for a long time. So having a digital library is nothing new to me. But again, it's less choice. So I fully understand it. For the price point, people would want this sort of thing, especially because they would have physical copies of console games. They're way more prevalent than PC still, physical copies, I would say. So yeah, fully understandable. No included vertical stand is just a funny little thing. Like, you're paying that much money, but they can't include a vertical stand for you, and presumably you're just going to have to buy one separately. Sure. $700, £700 is not enough to include a vertical stand for you to have that option. Isn't that amazing? I just, like, what? I would say as well, I watched some of the comparison footage. I didn't watch the whole showcase from Mark Cerny. Am I the only one looking at this though? And look, I've got a 1440p monitor. It's not 4K, whatever, but I can see, I can see what they're pointing out as clearly as everyone else in the videos and stuff. I feel like this is just not anything to write home about at all. Like, even the performance mode comparison on The Last of Us 2, where they showed performance mode on the left and we use PS5 on the right. It's like they had to zoom in on details. Like on one part of The Last of Us 2 showcase with the comparison, they showed one of the, like, a watchtower that they zoomed in on. They're like, there's so much more detail. But then when the camera's pulled out previously, it really doesn't look that much different to me. And the thing is, look, while I would, obviously acknowledge these are improvements, or this is an improvement overall, I feel like it's just not really a big deal. And the thing is, with the way games work, if you get this console, it's gonna be diminishing returns very soon, because give it a couple of years, and there'll already be games so demanding that the problem the PS5 currently has will exist with the PS5 Pro. I just don't think it's going to be a great long-term investment. If your reason for like taking an interest in it is to get better looking games, again, I don't think it's going to be a great long-term investment, frankly. Like, look at the PS4 Pro now. I mean, granted, that was many years ago, so it's really up to perspective, but I just don't think this is a big enough difference, honestly. Beyond that, though, because, I mean, that's a big thing, but what more can I say? It's really up to your eye, your own, perspective, but it didn't look like a very big difference to me, anything too noteworthy from what they were showing. And this is their main showcase, by the way, to sell the actual system. So, backwards compatibility. I don't know the situation fully with PlayStation 5 these days, but I know for a fact console backwards compatibility is quite limited in terms of, like, usually it's to PS4. I don't know if they've got like a classic store on PS5, but it is something to consider about a console in itself. I'm going to get onto PC stuff after, because I think it's becoming so much clearer as to why you should invest in a PC these days. It's just a no-brainer, like a good PC. So the next thing is the pricing, and this is ridiculous. I'll be honest. So the thing is, $700 people are making us think about that in the US, but £700, it doesn't make sense. It's just, I don't know what it is with Sony in the past few years trying to like money gouge the UK. Like, they did it with games. Like, $70 is not equivalent to £70. Like, even in the relative economies. Like, £70 is a good amount of money. Like, $70, okay, it's more money, sure. But to put it into perspective, games back around, I would say, let me just guesstimate here. Say 2006 with like the 360 and PS3 up to like, I don't know, 2011, 12. Cost about £40, $39.99. For a AAA game, that would be the base price of a new game around that time on like PS3. Now we're paying £70. At the same time, like that era I just mentioned, it would be $60 for a brand new game in the US, AAA game. $70 now. We've had such a monumental increase in the UK in pricing, and I don't understand why, to be honest with you. Our economy has not changed that much in terms of like wages. Arguably, it may have changed a little more than the US. I wouldn't have all the metrics to measure that. I don't really know as much about the US economy. I don't live in it. But the thing is, £700 here in the UK is equivalent, essentially. I mean, if you want to do a direct conversion, that's over $900. Like, $700 is over £900, sorry, I should say. $700, 900 plus pounds. Like, what? It makes no sense. And on top of that, the game prices I've mentioned have skyrocketed, particularly in the UK. And you've got paid online as well. And a lot of these modern games, which are your main choices on a platform like PS5, and certainly the PS5 Pro, the reason you'd be getting it would be for new releases. Look at the monetization schemes in most new releases nowadays. They're predatory. You've got microtransactions all over the place, live services where the game is objectively incomplete on launch, so they can stretch out development into the future and keep you hooked. It's a joke. I mean, it's an absolute joke. I feel like a lot of people would point to us, game budgets are bigger and bigger nowadays. Yeah, well, marketing. Like, the marketing budgets they put behind these games are absolutely substantial. I feel like it's needless. And there's so many indie developers making games for a fraction of the price. There are excellent games too. I've just been playing one now called Tormented Souls, a horror game which came out a few years ago, which is kind of a... it's kind of meant to be like a retro Resident Evil game with a modern look, and it's great. It's actually really good. I'm just thinking, like, this is a tiny game from an indie developer, and I'd rather be playing this than most of these big games these days. What you should be asking for is a lower budget towards these games and allocate the resources elsewhere, and don't try and milk us dry to make your money back off of marketing expenses. Of course, people won't do that. They won't think about that, so... But look, I would kind of summarize with this because there's not too much more to say. I think the pricing's egregious, particularly again in the UK. It's worse than US people think. Like, it's bad for them too. $700 is a hard sell, but £700 is ridiculous. On top of the games, the paid online, predatory monetization schemes that a lot of modern games have these days. I feel like the only reason people consider a PS5 Pro now is just out of ignorance. Or because you specifically want to play Sony exclusives. Most of which do come to PC about, a year later, maybe 2 years. I mean, but I feel like it's ignorance is the main thing. People are too ignorant to know much better, or really maybe they've never delved into the PC space, or are too intimidated to approach even building one. Don't be. There's like guides all over the internet about what you need. There's there's PC building websites to let you pick out all the parts, make sure they're compatible. It's not that difficult. I've done it, like many people have done it. I know people have done it, Or you can just get a pre-built. A pre-built PC is always an option. And I'm telling you right now, a PC will give you so much more value than any of these consoles. It gives you all the benefits of having a PC, all the multimedia and entertainment benefits, any work you want to do, if you want to store digital, archives of photos, videos, all these things that you guys would hopefully already realize. And in terms of games, do I need to go into detail on the thousands upon thousands of games you'll have access to on PC, the endless backwards compatibility with emulation, free emulators, and pretty much the ability to use any controller or controller method that you desire. It's like mouse and keyboard, any kind of controller out there, legacy controllers you could set up to work on PC with any game you want, essentially. Like, just move to PC, guys. You don't have to deal with paid online. A lot of PC gamers tend to put their foot down. Like, you'll see this en masse with predatory monetization. They'll be like, no. Like, so many examples of games looking to try and attempt to charge, like, for online or certain things where PC gamers are just like, no, not happening. In many ways, it's ironic me saying people should consider moving to PC, because the fact that PC is kind of gate-kept means that we have a group of people who are intelligent enough to push back against bad practices or poor proposals. Like, charge mods is another thing. Like, PC gamers have historically been like, no, you're not doing that, we're not supporting that, and things get shut down as a result. So, hey, actually, you know what? Go for the PS5 Pro. It looks great. I'll continue on PC. I'll just be in my corner over here, just doing my thing. You guys go and buy the PS5 Pro. That's fine. Go support it. Make Sony even like far, 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 far richer. Don't do any research off your own dime, off your own back to get a better experience. And yeah, that'll do for me, I suppose. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll speak to you later.